If you're a fan of the New York Mets, well, it wasn't all good just a week ago, and now it feels a lot different. The Mets have now won 4 consecutive games after they defeated the Yankees on Saturday afternoon. 12-6 was the final at Citi Field. They've won the first 2 games of this series in this round of the Subway Series against the Yankees. And joining me to talk about the Mets and the good vibes surrounding them right now is my guy, the host of the Subway to Shea podcast. His name is Anthony Rivera, and he joins me now. Anthony, what's going on, my friend?
162 game season, and you go through other ups and downs. Right now, we are trending upward, and I always love when it happens against the New York Yankees. So I will take this series dub, this Subway Series dub.
Well, look, let's start with that because heading into this series, right, and the Mets, they got a little bit of their mojo back against the Brewers. They won the last 2 games of that series. They had lost 14 out of 17. Before that, you're coming into this series against the New York Yankees, who were struggling themselves, but the Mets are pretty banged up. What were your expectations before this series? And now the Mets have taken the first 2 games of the series. How are you feeling now? Obviously good because they won. But what were your expectations heading into the series, and how shocked are you about how easily the Mets seemingly have handled the Yankees over these first 2 games? And that was a close victory in the first one, but they've handled the Yankees pretty well. Are you shocked by their performance here in the first 2 games?
I am. I am kind of shocked by their performance. I thought that the Mets would not win this series. On paper, the Yankees have the better starting pitching going on the mound. Whether you like Marcus Stroman or not, or how you feel about Carlos Rodon, those 2 guys are better than Montas as well as Hageman. And then you throw in the fact that Max Fried, who pretty much handles the Mets pretty easily, is going up against TBA for the now what is the third or fourth time that the Mets have been throwing out there. It feels like a series that the Yankees would be able to right the ship in. And the offense has come to play. They scored the runs, but the Mets have just done a whole lot better against them. And I said that this weekend was the weekend for the Mets offense to finally start hitting with runners in scoring position and finally take over because they know that this pitching staff is really decimated right now.
Yeah, it was time for the Mets offense to show up and show out, and they did. And then look, today, Saturday, against the Yankees, Pete Alonso, he showed up. He showed out. 2 home runs in this game. He's now 6 behind Darryl Strawberry for the all-time home run record for the Mets. Pete has been really consistent all years. He's had his dips sometimes, but then he's brought it back up with his plays seemingly at the right times. And we can talk about how great Juan Soto has been through the month of June and then now into July. But how impressed with you with what Pete Alonso did today to give the lineup that boost that they needed in terms of power?
Yeah, they really needed Pete Alonso to start hitting home runs again. He's been through a little bit of a drought himself, but the fact that he was able to pull off 2 big home runs because the Yankees kept coming. They kept coming at the Mets, and the Mets were able to hold them at bay thanks to not only Pete Alonso hitting those 2 big home runs, but another grand slam this week from Brandon Nimmo, his third grand slam of the season. The Mets offense, the core of the Mets offense did the job that needed to be done. And you can only get even more excited with the fact that Juan Soto has been probably the best player in the league. He won Player of the Month for the National League. He's hitting on all cylinders. And if we could get Francisco Lindor back to where he's been, you got top four. That's been great. You could throw in Jeff McNeil. He's been consistent all season long. If we could just get those 3 at the bottom, the kids, get them hitting and get some at bats. We'll get Jesse Winker back as well. Everything seems to be working right now, and I'm just happy that Pete Alonso is just that step closer to breaking the record held by Darryl Strawberry.
Yeah, he's a step closer. I know for some of the Straw fans out there, maybe they don't want to see him break the record, but he's getting closer to that. You mentioned Soto, right? And we know how great he's been in terms of the month he had in June, National League Player of the Month, as you just mentioned. To see him have the series that he's had here, Anthony, against the Yankees in these first 2 games, with everything that comes with that. We know how he got booed at Yankee Stadium last time, and the Mets fans have been cheering him a lot this week and every time he comes to plate. It comes to the plate, excuse me. How big is this for him to produce in this way, particularly against the Yankees? The Mets fans love to see it, but what do you think it does for the team?
I think it's a big boost in morale, right? The Mets go down 2-0 in game 1 on Friday with the home runs from Jason Dominguez and Aaron Judge. and you're like, ah, is this going to be one of those long nights? They don't have a strong starting pitcher on the mound. What happens next half of the inning? Juan Soto comes in, ties the game up with the 2-run home run, and I feel like that was the turning point. And he kept hitting after that. He went 3 for 4, had a big game there, had a big hit in today's game as well. So it's very important for Juan Soto to continue the way he's been playing throughout the month of June and carry that into July, because he's pretty much been the offense all of June. Even when this team has not been playing well, he has been consistent, and I feel like the team is rallying around that. And he really did need this for the Subway Series after what happened in the Bronx. I think he felt a little off there, especially with the way he was treated by the fans. Now he's at home, his home at Citi Field and in Queens, and I think things are going to be different moving forward.
Yeah, vibes are looking good around Juan Soto right now for sure. Can't knock that. But still with the pitching staff, I know, Anthony, the Mets pitching staff is just really in flux. I don't even know what to call it, right? Because they're like a mash unit walking right
Yeah.
now. The starter for tomorrow's game, the finale, has not yet to be announced. So TBA right now. The Mets still have a lot of health problems. They're waiting on Senga to come back. They're hoping Sean Manaea can come back. Where are you on this pitching staff, and how confident are you, even though the Mets have won 4 games in a row here, that they can sort of, I don't even know how to say this, keep the ship afloat, keep it going, get some innings? Are you confident in them being able to do this? Because with all the injuries, this is kind of like an anomaly for them right now with what we've seen in terms of the starting pitching production. Frankie Montas having a good game on Sunday. Are you confident they can keep this up?
Uh, it's hard to say, right?
I
Because
understand why. I get that.
yeah, when you're throwing out guys like Brandon Waddell, Austin Warren, Justin Hageman, you can't have that every day. And then you're expecting guys like Frankie Montas, who he actually pitched a pretty good game, even though he gave up those 4 runs, giving them 5 2/3. You got Clay Holmes giving them 5 to 6 innings. David Peterson has been absolutely huge going into the 7th inning for this team, and he had a bounce back. That's huge for the, let alone that himself. So once we get back Sean Manaea, which I assume is going to happen this weekend. I think he has one more rehab start. Kodai Senga had a rehab start today. He didn't fare well, but we don't care as much as results as much as he is feeling good and he is healthy tomorrow when we find out how he's been doing. I think that this team, if they continue to win, if they win tomorrow and they keep building this victory, you're making it seem like this team is strong right now and they're fighting for each other. And I think that's important, that even though this team has been decimated by injuries, they are showing that fight. They're showing that desire to win. And Mendy's been keeping this team together, which I think is very, very, very important. And as we get into the All-Star break, that's even better because now these guys get some rest. We'll get Jose Budo back after the All-Star game. Maybe Manaea as well as Senga will be back. And maybe we'll start to look at having a full team. Heck, I even want Tyler McGill back, and I can't believe I'm even saying that.
I'm
But even
stunned you
get
said
Tyler
that.
McGill back and healthy.
I'm stunned you said that. I did not expect that at all whatsoever.
We, you know what? If he's gonna give us 4 to 5 innings, I need that body. I mean,
Understood.
I need that body more than Zach Pops and the Chris Davinskys of the world. I need someone that's gonna give us at least 3 to 4 innings, at the back end of the rotation, and then you can figure things out from there. But with David Peterson right now leading the charge, bouncing back from those 2 bad outings, that's been huge. You got Clay Holmes pitching the best that he can. We'll get Manaea back. We'll get Senga back, and then we'll start looking at what we need at the trade deadline, which is important, and then hopefully a run into the postseason.
Okay, see, I hear that there. I hear a little bit of optimism. This is what can happen when you win a couple of games in a row. I get all that. But I do have a final question for you. But I have a short question, short answer I want from you before we get to that. Where were you mentally as a Mets fan, a Mets content creator, when the team lost on Tuesday afternoon? They had lost 14 of 17. I was actually in the building for that at Citi Field. They lost 14 to 17. Where are you? Are you like, I don't know with this June soon? Where were you mentally around this team?
Yeah, it's probably not in the best place, but I did go to the night game. I was at the night game. I saw you were at the day game. I
Yeah.
was at the night game, and the offense came alive. If the offense is going to help this pitching staff out, which it didn't do the first half of the season, where the pitching staff carried this team, if the offense can do that for now, as these guys get healthy, then we may at some point have a complete team here, which
Okay.
I think is very important.
Okay, so it may at some point have a complete team if you can see the offense produce. So with that being said, right, we know what the Mets did. We saw the June swoon. Now they've got the 4 wins in a row, a chance to sweep the Yankees on Sunday. Are the Mets back? Is everything right? Is the June swoon over? I know the calendar's turned to July, but are the good vibes back with the Mets, or are you in a situation where you need to see some more things?
I feel like for the Mets, the good vibes are back. I'm going to stay cautiously optimistic
Okay,
because I need one of these starting pitchers to return. At some point, if this continues where the injuries keep piling up, uh, you're asking guys like Reed Garrett to throw 2 inning saves, and then he's not going to be able to be used for another 2 to 3 days. And then
right.
you got Ryan Stanek going 2 to 3 days and pitching multiple innings, and Edwin Diaz. At some point, that's going to catch up to this team. And you hope it's not towards the end of the season when they're trying to make that final push for a postseason spot. So I always stay cautiously optimistic for this team. I hope that they can get themselves healthy and stay on track. And, if they get these guys back, it's going to be a big help. Having Kodai Senga, who has pitched very well ever since he became a New York Met, having him stay healthy is probably of the utmost importance.
Yeah, it would be huge. Be on their list of priorities to do for the rest of the season. We'll see how the Mets can finish up the series. 12-6 win on Saturday over the New York Yankees at Citi Field. They will go for the sweep on Sunday afternoon. That is Anthony Rivera. Check him out. Subway to Shea podcast, one of the best Mets podcasts out there. Anthony, I appreciate the time. We will talk soon, and we'll see if the Mets can keep winning.
This was as much fun as this series victory, so I appreciate you, Dexter.
I'm
Thank you.
sure it was for you. It's good vibes. Thank you, Anthony.